Colorado Buffaloes are 4-6. Deion Sanders is not ready to be the next head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies. What up, YouTube? Today we're talking about this whole conversation revolving of Deion Sanders going to Texas A&M. There's been a lot of conversation, and it's picking up a lot of steam that maybe he should be the next head coach of Texas A&M, since they recently fired Jimbo Fisher, which just proves it was a waste of a lot of green, because they fired him after 2 years into a 10-year deal. And it kind of shows that A&M is like, yo, we want to win and you're not doing it. And honestly, I feel like Kevin Sumlin did a way better job than Jimbo Fisher's done since he's been a part of the SEC. But to hear people sit here and say they should pursue Deion, I think is a mistake. And the reason being is that I was high on Colorado early. I was one of the people who was always looking forward to see what Colorado's going to do, what they can do going forward for the team. And I understand that, you know, he did his thing at Jackson State. Let's keep it real. Like, he put Jackson State on the map, not only in the college football world, but from a national spotlight perspective. Put a huge spotlight on Jackson, Mississippi, and Jackson State as a whole. But he's just in his first season in Colorado. Let's wait till we get to 2-3 years in before we get to talking about him going to different venues. This is just his first season, and honestly, right now, the Colorado Buffaloes are 4-6. They've lost their last 4 games straight. They was riding high, like going into the Oregon game, and Oregon humbled them. Now, granted, did people really expect them to upset Oregon and possibly USC? It was going into it, you just did not know if they were going to get their ass handed to on the silver platter, or it was going to be a close game. Now, the USC game, because it was played in Colorado, was a bit closer, but the Oregon game was an absolute beatdown, and it didn't make it any better with certain things that some of the players did at midfield, causing a bit of controversy pregame. And we can just take a look at their last 5 games. Of their last 5 games, they've only won 1, and that was at Arizona State. And honestly, they should have beat Stanford. They let Stanford come all the way back from where they were, and ever since then, they've been losing. And it's not going to make any better considering their last 2 games are road games. But even that being said, they should be able to beat Washington State since they're 4-6. But Utah is going to be one big old question mark. And if you look at the numbers right here, passing wise, they've been doing pretty good, but they're almost dead last when it comes to the rushing attack and in total yards a game. Not to mention their defense isn't really, you know, something to really write home about either. And yeah, there may be sometimes you may have seen a couple plays here and there in the early parts of the season when they was 4-0 that they looked somewhat formidable or somewhat decent. The defense still had holes even then, and the holes got exposed even more when they went up against Oregon and USC. All it boils down to is this: Colorado Buffaloes are 4-6. Deion Sanders is not ready to be the next head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies. Now, if they was 6-4, then maybe it would be a bit of a different story. But even then, like, should I really look at that and be like, yeah, you're going to lead the Texas A&M Aggies to prominence? Mind you, people are talking about Deion Sanders going from the Pac-12 to the SEC, arguably one of the toughest conferences to compete in apart from the Big Ten and the ACC. Y'all really asking him to go there where he got to compete against Alabama and LSU every year, Georgia, not to mention the fact Texas and Oklahoma is joining the conference next year. 2 of the most powerful teams that the Big 12 has or had is going to the SEC. I just want somebody to make it make sense for me. Y'all want him to go to the SEC where it's super highly competitive, more competitive than the Pac-12 is, if we're being honest, after 1 season of which they go 4-6 so far. I don't know. Like I said, we need to really pump the brakes and get to at least year 3. And maybe by year 3, the Colorado Buffaloes have a 2-loss record and they've upset a couple teams. Then you could talk about him going to other teams. Y'all should not be talking about him going to other teams right here, right now. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Till next time, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.